Maseches Eruvin daf Tzadi Gimel. The Gemara brings a machlokas of Chisda and Meimar. If Gidud chamisha and mechitza chamisha are mitztarif for mechitza asora, that means if you have two chatzeris, one next to each other, and the 5 tfachim above each other, and besides the 5 tfachim, that is a gidud, you also have a mechitza chamisha, are they mitztarif to be a hefsik between the two chatzeris? And the Gemara says that even according to Chisda holds it's not mitzdarif, the gabi the tachtoina, it's considered a mechitza because he's roya the entire pnei mechitza asara. Rashi and Taisus over here learn that's regarding two chatzeres, you have a hefsik of mechitza chamisha, gidud chamisha. There's a machlokes rishonim. What's the yesod of the chesaron according to Chisda? The Ritva understands and the Rashba that it's a gzeira. If you matter the mechitza chamisha for the chotzer on top, you'll end up being metaltal even with a mechitza chamisha without a gidud chamisha. However, the Ganya give proofs from Taisus that Taisus declares the Gabi Rishus Rabbim. You see that he holds that's a the Raisidik Halacha. Ayin the Chacham Tzvi that explains that the suffix of the Gemara is that the Gidud doesn't work because of a regular hilchas of the mechitza. It goes to because of good asik mechitza, and therefore the Gemara is mesupik two types of mechitzas if they come and start. Toises over here brings Shitas Rashi in Gittin that understands the halacha of Gidud chamisha, mechitza chamisha is referring to a charitz. If you have a hole that's 5 tfachim deep and you put a mechitza around it, if it's mitzdarif or not. And Tosis has many kashas on Rashi that over there, since inside the bar there is mechitzas asora around, it definitely should be mitzdarif. And one Rai brings from our Gemara, the Gemara over here says the tachtoin has mechitza asora. So over there also inside the bar you have mechitza asora. Tosis in Sukkah is a kasha from the fact that the Gemara in Sukkah is mavur, that b'chaygavna is mitzdarif to be considered mechitzas inside the Sukkah. To answer Rashi from the kasha from our Gemara, the Pnei Yeshua in Gittin says that there's a tremendous difference between our sugya, which is referring to a mechitza between two chatzeros, and Rashi in Gittin, which is referring to a bor, which is a middle of Rishus Rabbim, to make the inside the bar into Rishus Yochid. And he says only in regard to be mafsik between two chatzeros, you find that there's a difference. That although you don't have a complete mechitza because it doesn't have 10 tfachim on both sides, but it could be considered a mechitza for the lower chotzer and not for the higher chotzer, because in dividing two chatzeris, you find many cases in Maseches Eruvin that there's a situation that you have a mechitza for one chotzer, not for the other chotzer, a mechitza for the gdoila, not for the ketana. However, when you have a bar b'Rishus Rabbim to make inside the bar into Rishus Yochid, there's no such thing as making a Rishus Yochid a chatzoin, and therefore you need a full-fledged mechitza, a mechitza that's good on both sides, that has 10 tfachim on both sides to make inside it into Rishus Yochid. Menachem Bertzovitz has a different teretz to answer Rashi. He says a chiddush that the reason why bor and chuyas is not mitzdarif is because bor is not a regular mechitza. He says to be considered a mechitza, you need a mechitza on both stadim, and bor is not a mechitza on both stadim. The reason why a bor is considered mechitza is because it's separate from Rishus Rabbim, but doesn't have the regular criteria to be a mechitza. It's like a mud b'Rishus Rabbim according to the Ramban. It's separate from Rishus Rabbim. It's the same thing, a bor. So therefore, a bor and a chulias has two different types of mechitzas, therefore it's not mitzdarif. Another teretz you could say, according to the yesod that we spoke out on Daf Ayin Zayin and Daf Ayin Tes, that it's choluk the mechitza between Rishus Yochid and Rishus Rabbim, and between two Rishuyas. Between Rishus Yochid and Rishus Rabbim, the mechitza is not only separating the Rishus Yochid and Rishus Rabbim, it's making the Rishus Yochid. So according to that, Rashi holds specifically between two Rishus HaYachids that it's only a separation. A separation that's enough as long as it's separated from one side, that separates the two Rishus, and therefore it's considered mechitza v'tachtoina. However, to make the Rishus HaYachid into Rishus HaYachid, it's a whole another level of a mechitza. Over there, you need a mechitza that's mavdil on both sides, that's 10 tefachim on both sides to make the Rishus HaYachid into Rishus HaYachid. That's why Rashi holds that bor and chulis is not mitzdarf. Moving further on in Sefer Shiurin in Talmud in Maseches Gittin, from Abba Berman Zechon Nevacha, it's a very strong kasha on this sugya. That how could it be the Gidud chamisha, mechitza chamisha is mitzdarf to be considered a mechitza? There's a machlokes Rishonim, machlokes Tosis and Tosis Shonim. In Shabbos Daf Zayin, we spoke it out in the Shurim in Shabbos Daf Zayin. If you need a mechitza, to have a sheer mechitza for facing the Rishus HaYachid, or it's enough to have a mechitza facing the Rishus HaRabim, when you have a bias that inside is not 10, but outside is 10, could the outside wall of 10 tefachim make the inside of Rishus HaYachid? The Tosis Shalom says it helps, and Tosis says it does not help. So according to Tosis, you see that you need a mechitza facing inside the Rishus HaYachid. So he asked, if that's the case, it's a pella, how could on top of the Gidud be considered a mechitza? You don't have a mechitza asara facing the chotzer on top. So he says that the teretz is that since you have mechitza asara facing the bottom one, you say good asik mechitza, and good asik mechitza will extend the mechitza, and you have a mechitza asara being goider the chotzer on top. However, in the case of Tosis and Shabbos, that you have a house that has a gag, that although even if you'll say good asik mechitza, it still will not make that you have a mechitza asara being goider the inside of the rishus because of the gag is mafsik. Another teretz you could say, according to what we spoke out before, that the mechitza between Rishus HaYachid and Rishus Rabim is different between two chatzeros, and that the Tosis says you need a mechitza asara klape pnim is only being mafsik between Rishus HaYachid and Rishus Rabim. However, to be mafsik between two chatzeros, it's enough that if you have a mechitza klape chutz, that's enough to divide between two chatzeros. According to the mandama, the Gidud chamisha, mechitza chamisha, it's mitzdarf. And this would only answer, according to the Rishonim, they were only talking about from Rishus to Rishus, but according to Tosis, that Gidud chamisha is even between Rishus HaYachid and Rishus Rabim, won't be able to answer canal. Moving further on, at the end of Tosis, he says a tremendous chiddush. He's mesupik if you have a moed b'Rishus Rabim that's 5 tefachim high, and on top of you make a mechitza chamisha tzarchi, and if you throw from Rishus Rabim to inside of it, you chayiv. However, from inside, on top of the amoy to outside Rishus Rabim, you potter. The Ganyan given the Karen Oiro on Matmi on Tosis, how could it be there's a difference between if you throw from Rishus Rabim to inside the Amoid, or the inside the Amoid to outside Rishus Rabim? If it's a Rishus HaYachid, you should be chayiv in both ways, and if it's not Rishus HaYachid, you should be potter in both directions. I in the Sefer Shiuri in the Talmud in Gittin that he says that the answer to Tosis is that if yesh lachkar, what's the gather mechitzas of Rishus HaYachid? Is the pshat that mechitzas are a hechatimtza to make a Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaYachid, or a mechitzas halacha in the meleches haitzah, you have to be maver the mechitza, and that's part, it's an ingredient in the meleches haitzah going over the mechitza. He says that's the beer in Tosfos that's specifically from Rishus Rabim to Rishus HaYachid, that you have a mechitza asara facing Rishus Rabim. That's why you chayiv. However, from on the moed to Rishus Rabim, that you're not facing a mechitza asara, you potter, although it's considered from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus Rabim, but since there's no mechitza asara, therefore you potter. It's a tremendous chiddush v'ayin shah. The yesh lahoyer, that's not like Reb Chaim. According to Reb Chaim in Hilchos Sukkah, Reb Chaim holds that on top of Amoyed is a Rishus HaYachid ad l'rakia without the halacha of Gurasik mechitza. The fact that the Rishus HaYachid is goder on the bottom 10 tefachim, it's goder ad l'rakia. So you see, even though there's no mechitza on top of it, afal piken could mechayev when you throw from Rishus Rabim tal gabi amod. You see, you don't need to go bimaver through a mechitza.